This is Ag Matters PM from the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network, brought to you by the Iowa Soybean Association. Your daily recap of the information that affects Iowa's farmers, producers, and consumers, right here in the heart of the heartland. With reports from our award-winning broadcast team of Dustin Hoffman, Riley Smith, and Mark Magnuson. Now, from the IARN studios in Des Moines, here's Mark Magnuson.
Hello and welcome into Ag Matters PM on the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network. I'm Mark Magnuson. Today is Wednesday, April 16th, 2025, and we're so glad you can join us for today's show. In today's episode, I will be joined by Sam Trainor of agmarket.net for our closing markets. But first, a word from the United States Meat Export Federation, as USMEF and its partners recently went on a trade mission to Accra, Ghana.
The U.S. Meat Export Federation brought together buyers from 12 African nations with 30 exporters of United States beef and pork for a trade seminar April 8th and 9th. The seminar offered opportunities for buyers and sellers to meet individually over 2 sessions. The groups also heard from leaders of USMEF, USDA, and the U.S. cattle industry, as well as owners of successful meat businesses in Africa, and toured retail stores and cold storage facilities.
First up, we have Dan Hallstrom, President and CEO of the U.S. Meat Export Federation, giving background on the trade seminar in Ghana.
We're here in Accra, Ghana for our first USMEF Africa trade mission. And basically, it's our opportunity to bring in buyers from all over the continent. We have 12 countries represented here in Accra. And we have about 30 different exporting members of ours as well. So really, that's one of our core missions, is to bring buyers and sellers together, especially in these emerging markets that are still not developed today.
Hallstrom says there is a growing middle class in Africa, and that is creating new trade opportunities.
We're on the cusp of new business with beef variety meats in particular coming into this region regularly. But it's time to take the next step and get aggressive and really tell our story in these countries. And, a lot of the business starts with variety meats in these regions, but the real goal is to get to muscle cuts, whether it's beef muscle cuts or pork primal cuts like spare ribs, for example.
Matt Copeland is the USMEF Africa rep, and he talked about the overall aims of the trade seminar.
Africa works off trust, relationship building, like most markets in the world. And so we wanted to make sure I could put the best possible delegates from the USA into the best possible buying room we could facilitate. So this room is full of 51 companies, 76 buyers, and I can tell you total values over 140,000 tons of protein purchased a month. We have this emerging middle class, and those guys, one of the first things they do as they emerge is they want to spend money on a better experience. So we're going to take advantage of that wave. And the reality is, all of the people in this room on the buying side, they've pioneered all of the big drama up until now. So, we're really just going to benefit on them and trusted partnerships helping us interpret this market.
Heather Buckmaster is the executive director of the Oklahoma Beef Council, and she says that there are U.S. beef export opportunities beyond variety meats.
So I think what's interesting about Africa, and I would want U.S. beef producers to understand that there is a wide level of demographics here. And so there's obviously a foundational need for our beef variety meats, but there's also just across the quality grade is an opportunity to move U.S. beef into this market. And then everything from hotel restaurants where there is a big tourist, there's a big convention. I mean, we've been here at the Labate Beach Hotel at this conference center. There's been multiple conferences with individuals coming in across Africa for conferences. So that means there's more opportunity from the hotel restaurant standpoint for U.S. beef. So there's so much opportunity here in Africa.
Robert Preska of Lamex Foods says that the direct meetings in Africa, face-to-face with consumers and importers, generated productive leads.
I've been working Africa for 15 years, and I have met 9 people today who are established businesses in Senegal, in Ivory Coast, who I had not met before, and we've had very productive meetings. At these meetings, we have several people in high-end restaurants who are interested in high-quality beef to put on the plate, and we're really trying to work to get some air samples over because we're not going to, if the people haven't used it before, it's going to be very difficult to sell them a full container right off the bat. But if we can get some samples into them somehow, it becomes feasible that in a few months we could be talking about moving some containers of primal cuts over here.
Mark Boyd of the California-based Porky Products spoke about the opportunities that are currently available in Africa.
There's certainly a need of affordable, high-quality protein in this market, which the U.S. will be in a good position to help fill in the coming years. There are some price point challenges in this market that we have to see how we can fill. But with the increasing of the middle class projected over the next 10 years and the growing population, there's going to be enough market here for everybody, I think. And we're well positioned to take advantage of that.
Etse Gadabeku manages the La Bianca Company cold storage facility in Accra, and he says that the infrastructure is in place in Ghana, but you must find the right partners.
Sometimes there's a misconception out there that we bring in inferior products, or like it's a dumping site. You know, we don't treat the products well when we receive them. So when it goes to the market, then everybody generalizes is that's okay. The products that are coming from the imported products are all bad, especially America. But then when they come and they see that it's not all the cold stores or it's not all the facilities that are bad, we actually do treat them well. It gives them a new perspective that, okay, when you deal with the right customers, then you can grow the U.S. industry, the U.S. products as well. It can go higher because it's not really about the products. It's how it's also handled out here and dealing with the right partners out here that will make sure that your products goes a long way.
For more information about the trade seminar in Ghana and more information as well about the U.S. Meat Export Federation, you can visit USMEF.org. It is time now for Closing Markets, and I will be joined by Sam Trainor of agmarket.net. But first, a word from our sponsor, the Iowa Soybean Association and the Soybean Checkoff.
Iowa Soybean Association is driven to deliver for Iowa's 40,000 soybean farmers. We're proud to provide objective agronomic research, a helping hand with soil and water stewardship, and timely industry news powered by the Soybean Checkoff. Learn more at iasoybeans.com.
It's time now for Closing Markets on Ag Matters PM, and I'm joined by Sam Trainor of agmarket.net. Sam, what happened with the trade in the grains today?
We saw grain on the screen across the board, whether you're looking at the grain markets with corn, beans, and wheat, or into the livestock sector. Saw green across the screen. I think we're starting to see a little bit of money come into the ag side of the business. Maybe the managed money is getting a little bit spooked from stock market volatility and looking at putting some money back into the agriculture side, especially with U.S. planting getting underway and grilling season coming up for the livestock markets as well.
And Sam, when we think about those weather stories that we've heard about here recently, and I'm specifically talking about the eastern part of the Corn Belt and those parts of the Southeast that got so much rainfall, is that just the story that's kind of been latched onto because there hasn't been a lot happening, or is there more concern there about planting and getting all of those crops in the ground?
I think that the story from the Eastern Corn Belt, we've kind of moved past that a little bit here. But right now, the story is the upcoming weather and potential for planting windows here in the Central Corn Belt. Doesn't look like we're going to get that big stretch, say 5, 7, 10 days in a row where guys are going to be able to be out in the field planting. I know in my area right now, there are guys going like crazy getting crop in the ground, but this weekend we have rain coming and going to put folks on the sidelines for quite a bit. And looks like that might be the trend here over the next few weeks when you look at the extended forecast, that planting windows tend to be small and getting smaller as we go along.
And Sam is located in central Illinois. Sam, let's talk about the other side of the ag marketplace now, the livestock complex. What did the trade look like for cattle and hogs today?
Saw another really strong day in the cattle and hog markets. Looking at the feeder market in particular, it has been nothing short of incredible with this recovery that we've made. Early last week, we obviously had a sharp sell-off, and here today at the close, May feeders finished $17.20 off of those lows, and we're only about $6.20 away from contract highs. So considering that we've done all of this in just a few days' time is very, very impressive, to say the least. And it just proves that the fundamentals are kind of reigning supreme here over the headline news that we saw put a lot of risk into these markets here not too long ago.
On the grain side, we know that we have heard over the years here recently that China has diversified things more, moving away from the United States, finding some of those other trade partners for commodities, and even building infrastructure when you look at places like Brazil. On the livestock side, Sam, has that been the case for China as well? Have they looked for different trading partners for those livestock protein commodities?
Not nearly as much as they have in the grains. Like you said, they're really diversifying themselves in the grain markets. They're planting corn now, whereas and trying to be self-sufficient on corn. So you look back, say 5-10 years ago, in the corn market, China was a huge buyer, and now they're very minuscule at best. So to the extent of the grain markets, like you said, it's nowhere close, but they have diversified a little bit. But like I said, it's nowhere near the scale as they have on grains.
He is Sam Trainor with agmarket.net. Sam, what's the best way for our viewers to get in touch for more marketing information?
Best way would be to visit our website at agmarket.net, or you could give us a call here in Normal, Illinois at 1-800-779-1515.
Sam, thanks so much for the time. Always appreciate it, and have a great rest of your week.
Thanks, you too, Mark.
Thank you to Sam Trainor of agmarket.net for closing markets here today. Let's take a look at the closing numbers, how the markets finished, and you can find that information anytime under the Markets tab of our website at iowaagnet.com.
May corn closes up 3 cents at 4.84 1/4. May soybeans up 2 3/4 at 10.38 3/4. May soybean meal up 2.50 at 2.96.70. May soybean oil up 15 cents at 47.48. Chicago wheat up 5 3/4 at 5.47 3/4. Minneapolis wheat up 2 1/2 at 6.03 3/4. Kansas City hard red wheat up 5 cents at 5.58 even. May oats up 4 3/4 at 3.47 1/2. On the Merc, June live cattle finishes up $2.27 at 202.07. May feeder cattle up $1.87 at 284.40. May lean hogs up $1.95 at 90.15. May pork cutout up $1.12 at 97.67. Class 3 milk down 21 cents at 17.87.
That wraps up closing markets for today and brings us to the end of today's show. You can find all of our content on our website at iowaagnet.com. You can also follow us on social media at Facebook, X, TikTok, and LinkedIn. And you can listen to our morning, midday, and closing market podcasts wherever you find your favorite podcast at Apple, Amazon, Google, Spotify, and Podbean. Also, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. From the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network studios in Des Moines, I'm Mark Magnuson. For Riley Smith, Dustin Huffman, and Andy Peterson, we thank you for watching. This has been Ag Matters PM.